My talk is going to be short and short, not that short, but something deep. So in your part, you have the responsibility. While you are listening to me, you have to think, what am I saying? Okay? There's a limitation. There's only a limited projection that I can do of Dhamma, but unless you think about it, unless you run it in your mind, what am I saying? Because Dhamma is sometimes quite deep. To understand this particular teaching, it requires some effort on your behalf. So now weekly I come down to Melbourne for teachings. One day I was telling Sarat, like, the universe that we live in, our existence is like a big building, a skyscraper. We have 31 floors. We have 31 levels of existence. Which floor are we in now? Sorry? What is the floor that we are in? If we talk about, if Buddha is explaining 31 planes of existence, from the lower realm to the upper, the highest, the Brahma world, which level are we in? Which floor are we in? 3? Fifth? Okay. How can it be the fifth one?
4 Satara Maha.
Yes. And then the human realm. Yes. So we are in the 5th floor. The lower realms are maybe what do you call the basement. What is the penthouse? What is the penthouse? The penthouse is the Akanita Brahma world. Yes, the last Brahma world. Now please tell me, within this building, how many ways are there if we want to go up and down? Why we go in samsara up and down? What are the ways? What is the pathology? Why do we go in samsara? Everybody knows? Yes, what's the first one? Everybody was craving, yes? Because of craving we go in samsara. Because of craving we go into suffering. What's the second one? Huh? No, craving. I'm asking hardcore facts. Why we go? Second one is ignorance. Please remember, we should put ignorance the first place, okay? Ignorance, craving. The third one, why do we run an endless cycle of samsara? It's karma. Okay, what is the last one? Sorry? These 4 things give rise to defilements. But I'm asking now, we need to find out the pathology. If we have a problem in front of us, there's a systematic way. I've been trained into a very scientific way of finding out facts. So we know our problem. The problem is samsara. Why we are going in this? We have to find out facts. So first one, we know ignorance is there. Second one, we know craving is there. Third one, we know karma is there. What is the last one? We hardly talk about this. It's called nutriment. Ahara. Okay? You can call it nutrition. How does nutrition help us? Why do we need nutrition? Okay, first of all, Buddha says, Chattaru me ausu ahara bhutanang va sattanang va titiya sambhavesinang va anuggahaya. There are these 4 kinds of food for the maintenance of beings that already have come to be. For the people who have come to be, like all of us, and for the support of those seeking a new existence. Okay, now this is, in Buddhism we hear food for your heart, chicken soup, yes, these things are there. But this is also very dangerous, this food. If we want to eliminate our samsara, this is a very important fact. The aharas that you are going to learn will encompass everything, all our problems in one. So there are 4 kinds of such nutriment. What is the first one? Kabalinkara aharo, passa aharo, mano sanchetana aharo, and the vijnana. Let's put it in English that you understand. Gross and fine food that we consume. And contact. And your volitional thought, whatever the thinking thoughts can also be a nutriment to you and consciousness. Let us find out each and every one, one by one. When you say gross and refined food, what are they? It's just simple questions I'm asking. You don't have to just, you can say KFC, McDonald's, pizza, rice. Since birth you have been doing this. From the first day you have been born, you have been eating. When you are young, you get breastfed every 6 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. Now I believe you are in 3 meals a day routine. Yes. So gross and refined food are the food that we eat. But in the commentary it also explains pleasurable figurines. Girls and boys, if something is beautiful, you cannot eat it. But still, I know you can say, in my own language, when you see a nice girl, in Sri Lanka when we were young, we used to say, "Dakkama kanna hitenawa." You know, you feel like eating that woman. You feel like eating that man. And as a young boy, you can watch at a girl and you can drool, you know. So it's a food, you know. In that way, that is also explained. So now tell me, why do we eat? Can we live without food? No. So it's a very much part of our existence. When we eat gross and refined food, have you seen, we are growing up. I am fat. Yes, you grow up. What is the aspect that has been grown in me? Is it the nama or the rupa aspect? The rupa aspect, yes. So you have to understand, Buddha explains in Sammaditthi Sutta, if somebody can understand this food, how it arises, how it passes away, the way of passing, how you diminish this source of food, you can come into the realization of Dhamma. And in Kuddakapata there is a saying, if somebody can comprehend this concept of nutriment, you will reach anagami, non-returnal level. So it's very important we understand food. Everybody knows, everybody can understand, okay, I like chicken, I like soup. Because see, of course there is attachment to it. But okay, if food is making us attached to that particular thing, it doesn't mean that we cannot stop eating and, you know, end our craving there. So we need to look into deeply and see why this is a problem. So please understand, when you say, so now if our body is nama rupa, now we can clearly understand the food makes our rupa aspect grow big. So food is very essential. But we are not any different from any other food. Because we are superior to all other beings, do we belong in the food chain? If a lion or a crocodile, how does they see us human being? They don't, we are not, there's a human being, so we are not going to eat a human being. No, we are also at the end of the day, we are also a source of food. So we are indifferent to food. This you must understand. Although we are trying to differentiate, because we are human beings, through our consciousness, through our contact, we have a different level of understanding that because we are human beings, we eat other species, but other species, of course, we get attacked, we get eaten by other animals. In that understanding, we are also food. The problem with food is, the food gives us a distortion, a perversion. What is the perversion that food gives us? Now, what is the first type of food that we have been introduced to? Breast milk. Now, do you like breast milk? No, yeah, you don't like it because it tastes maybe horrible. Yeah, I have tasted it because when I was a student, there are packets and packets stored. You know, you just can sip nothing. Yeah, it's. So you are, but now you don't like it. So you people say, they go to another country, they eat something and say, oh, this is an acquired taste. No, each and every food that we eat is an acquired taste. Okay, in relation to that, there is no food that comes in samsara, there is no database, there is nothing stored in your mind saying that this food is good for us, this food is something that belongs to us. Every food is something acquired. So in relation to that, for some food can be agreeable to one person, The other food can be not agreeable. Lower realms, if you take asuras, the petas, they like what? They like all dirt, spit, urine, feces. Do you think the pigs like to eat milk rice? No, they like all dirty things. So in village, this is all a comparison within our mind. But at the end of the day, we take food to be something pure, but it is in general, it's a impure thing. What is the distortion of the mind here? We take something impure as pure. Now you might argue, when we boil food it becomes pure, you put in the microwave, the bacteria goes away. This is all in a mundane level. But our mind in general, this we call, because our body is impure, we take it as pure. So when we take food, when we like food, we have attachment to something impure. But we take through distortion as pure. So what happens? The moment food comes to your mind, it takes us now I've been informed not to come up with numbers, so I'm not going to come up with numbers. It takes us through a process how this mind works. What happens when you have this impure thing taken as pure? You get attached to it. What is the Pali term for attachment? What is the Pali term for grasping? Da, no. You have to do all the words. Now by this time you have to know a little bit of these things also. Upadana. What are we grasping here now? Something sensual. Yes, something very sensual. What is the word for sensual? Sensuality. Kama. You are grasping sensuality. Then once you have grasped, now we have all grasped something called food. Why do you all go for working? Is your first reason to build a house? Is your first reason to give your children good education? Is your reason for going work to come up with cars? What is the first reason that you need money for? Existence. To fill your tummy. Because we get hungry. So our world, our life revolves around, in this level, food. So now you are attached to it. You do everything in your capacity. You study, you learn, you become a doctor, lawyer, engineer. You have other investment plans, but the first investment plan is to fill your tummy. Because food needs to be there on your table. We are in a mesh, you cannot understand this. Let's take a native I don't know if this becomes a racial problem, then let's become somebody who's in the forest. He has no concerns about becoming somebody, but he goes hunting. That's his work, just to find food. So when the whole process of finding food becomes a daily routine, you call it, it's like yoga. You do an activity all the time. You call it Kama Yoga. This is called maintaining sensuality. We are maintaining our sensuality. Although we sometimes forget it's food. We think money. But even with money, we buy food. We don't go to the bank all the time. But you might be repeating your trip to Coles, Woolworths every other day, isn't it? The food is at this level, in Kabalinkara Ahara level, in gross and refined food level, our life revolves around maintaining ourselves. So we have grasped to sensuality, we are maintaining sensuality. The next one, what happens with this sensuality? It goes on to another level. Can you live without this kind of a grasping? Can you say no, I don't want to eat food, I'm going to get rid of my attachment to this? No, this becomes, there is a strong bond with the sensuality. This is called abhijja, avidya, a very strong attachment to this level of ignorant living of life. So then, when you do something again and again and again and in your life, it's like a good beer or whiskey being fermented in a keg. What do you call this fermentation? We have a word for that. I can give the English word taint. Okay, taints. Yes, can you come up with a sutta which have taints totally explain? Asava. It's like wine, this sensuality gets brewed in you. It's getting brewed within you. So this happens to be a kama sava. It goes on. Then all these words called capitalism, the commercial economy, everything has become a wave in our lives. We cannot go against this system that is called kamoga, the wave of sensuality. Can we go out of this system now? It's very hard. It's very hard the way we live our lives. This has become a wave, a force in our lives. You cannot beat the odds and you cannot swim across the other way. So Buddha explains this is the wave of sensuality we are experiencing right now. If you go further down, this becomes a thorn. We call it salla. You have a prick within you that you cannot go out of this whole system. So it's a 6-step process that through food, you see food, you take it as something impure, although it's impure, your body is pure. We cannot live without food. The food makes your rupa aspect grow. Because of this rupa aspect, the nama aspect, the mind aspect goes bigger, so food is indifferent to you. We are also food, we are also consuming other food, but through this food, to have food on your table, that's why everything is, people say I have too much things on my plate. There are a lot of words that have evolved in our system that has to do with food. So we have put into a system that is not spiritual, to a very superficial, mundane, secular system, that we go along with this sensual wave of pleasures. So kabalinkara ahara, the gross food, has an effect. Then what are we grasping? To sensuality. What is the word for sensuality? Kama. Now this sensuality is also can be translated as raga. So what are the thoughts that we have in the system? Raga, chittas, the mindset. Our mind is a way of building up. Through the system we have something called raga coming up with us. What is the second type of nutriment? Okay, the gross food. Do you like to hear music? Why do you go for movies? Why do you go for orchestras? Why do you go for dancing? Why do you say so much about music? Some people say music is my food. It's also, people cannot live without this kind of food also. We need entertainment. How do we take all this entertainment within to ourselves? How do we absorb it? Through eyes, ears, nose, taste and feelings. These are called the 6 contact bases. Okay, how does contact come to be? Buddha explains, the contact comes to be chakkuncha paticca rupecha uppajjati chakkuññānam. Please understand, there should be your eye, there should be the object, and there should be also the consciousness that creates this object, and contact is not going to stop there. What are the 2 other byproducts of this contact? You see a nice girl. Sorry, I can only relate. As a monk, obviously, So you see something nice. You smell nice perfume. Then what happens? Yeah, you like it. Then what happens? Do you get a perception out of it? Do you get a feeling out of it? You smell and say, nice feeling. You eat something and you say, it's very nice. So the contact doesn't stop there. It will give you 5 things. Passa, Vedana, Sanya, Sanchetana. 4 here. This 4 is grasped by Rupa. So through contact we have created the 5 clinging aggregates here. So this is how a man is made up of. A very, very, very dangerous process. So what is the problem with this? What is the problem with this everyday seeing and hearing and listening? You see something nice, you think it's a nice thing. But does this nice thing stay nice all the time? In reality, it changes into what? Something not nice. Then what is the feeling that's arising in you? It's a unhappiness. Unhappy thing comes to your eyes. In the first place itself, it is suffering. The neutral, whatever you see neutral, how does it always change to? Usually, when Buddha says there is tilakkana, there are 3 characteristics in anicca, dukkha, anatma, in everything that we see within us, the transition, the change will always be into suffering. There is no, in reality, I don't think there is anything that you can say tomorrow will be better than today. People want to say that. We say tomorrow is going to be better than today. Of course, unless you do something good today, the tomorrow will be the same. You cannot expect that. So change is also always, viparinam is also towards suffering. So in general, what is this? In general, everything is unsatisfactory. But when you grasp that beautiful thing, a nice bottle of perfume, a beautiful girl, a beautiful car, are we maintaining a happy feeling within ourselves? Happy contact? Now we have grasped. What is the grasping here? So we have grasped something painful as pleasure. So do you understand what's wrong with us now? We are always grasping. Now I have explained why everything turns to be unsatisfactory. Nobody can argue against this. If you want to think of something right now within these 5 minutes and find out that doesn't change into anything suffering, please let me know. I will go through my consciousness and rephrase my words. You cannot do something like that. Everything turns into some unsatisfactoriness. But we have the habit of grasping into things, thinking that this is pleasurable. So what is this? What is this personal thing? What are we trying to do here? Now, you change your posture. When you are unhappy, you change your posture. You go to the toilet in the morning. You apply cream. You try to buy the best car to keep you comfortable. So it's a never-ending process of finding that temporary happiness. Underneath, everything is unsatisfactory. But humans, again and again and again and again, through contact, what are we looking for? Happiness. So we are grasping to a system that we want to fabricate things. So we are grasping. You make an existence out of our contact. Do you understand? So you become a doctor, you become a lawyer, you become a somebody. Now the previous food, previous kind of nutrition, we revolved around food. In this level, we are revolving around food is the very basic comfort. What is the highest type of comfort a human can have? I don't want to use the word, but it's a 3-letter word. Starts with S, ends with X. Okay, yes. So it revolves around that. That's a very, very like food in Kabalinkara Ahara. This is in contact level. That is the highest kind of happiness that a mundane, every other ordinary That's normal. There's nothing wrong with that because we are living beings. We are born into a system that naturally we need to go in this process to procreate. But if it is so pleasureful, why do we do it again and again? If it is no, because that pleasure cannot be maintained. So not only that aspect, not only that three-letter word aspect in our lives, but each and everything that you do, like food. Previous level you were looking for food. This level, through contact, you are looking for something pleasurable. But underneath, everything is unpleasurable. But as human beings, we do things again and again and again. We are maintaining a system that we grasp onto a ritual. So this is called habitual grasping, ritualistic grasping. Silabbata upadana. What's wrong with this grasping? You create an existence. You create an existence within this life itself. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer. You come up with names to show that you live a comfortable life. You are creating a comfort. You are happy in that little time, little time of your pleasures. When you are listening music, you are happy. When it's not there, you are unhappy. Never ending, from one posture to another. When you cannot sit long, you stretch your legs, you become happy. But you don't identify that unpleasantness. But without knowing, without a break, you cyclically go on looking for a pleasure. But the distortion, perversion is that you take something painful as pleasureful. So it becomes a maintenance. We call it bhava yoga. Then it becomes a force in our life. You do something again and again without knowing. With this fabrication, you do it again and again. It becomes a taint. Ashrava. What do you call this ashrava? Bhava ashrava. Then becomes a very big force. Can you go out of it right now? Unless you sit down and think about this and try to go away from you decide yourself to swim across. You cannot do that. We are in this. This is why this Ogatarana Sutta and say how to go against these waves of taints, waves of ashrava. So this is called bhava yoga. How contact. Through contact we don't understand the Dhammas. Through contacts we naturally try to take something pleasureful out of a suffering, a non-pleasureful thing. So do you get that? Any questions in that? So you get the thorn of aversion. At the end of the day, this is a thorn. This is stuck into our very soul, deep into our very soul. If it is a thorn, it gives out a poison. What is the poison? Poison is suffering. Okay. Now, the third level of nutriment. This is also very important. It's called mano sanchetana ahara. Thinking, thoughts. In a very mundane, secular level. How does this become a food for you? Do you like to daydream? Yes. You sit down and plan for a future and we think, we project, we come up with a big plan for our future. From what time? What's the time? Parents decide their children's future when they go into kindergarten. They look for Scotch College, Gofield Grammar, Melbourne High. Then you ask from here, okay, you are going to be a doctor, you are going to be a doctor, you are going to be an engineer at the age of 5. So not only for yourself, you are creating this all ignorant. Okay, you might wonder how can we live with. That's the wave of taints. That's the way we are living. We cannot think anything out of this at the moment unless you sit down and put this Dhamma into your mind. So in this level, that is also a food. You can fantasize things. There's a system that says stress reduction. I use this word. You can close your eyes and go to anywhere that you like. Sometimes when you are going through a lot, I used to say, okay, you do whatever you like. I'm shutting down my eyes. I'm going to Disneyland. Can't you go? Those who have not been to your own country, you can go right now. You can go to Penang and Malaysia. I can go to Colombo. Mano Sanchetana. You can walk in the beaches. You can hold your, you don't have to tell your wife, you can have to tell your husband, you can hold a woman's hand. I don't have to, hide from other monks if I'm going to do that. I can do every dirty thing inside my mind. This is called Mano Sanchetana. This is a very big nutriment in our day-to-day life. So what is it creating? What is the problem? How does this volitional thinking come to be? Rupa Sanchetana. How does Rupa Sanchetana come? Through eye. Then Shabda Sanchetana. Yes. Then what is the nose? Gandha Sanchetana. Pottabha Sanchetana. Mano Sanchetana. All this can be done in your thoughts. We call this volitional thought. Volitional thought. Volition, what does it mean? Chetanahang bhikkhave kammang vadami. Your volitional thought is the reason for kamma to arise. Now, again, this is a nutriment for kamma. Please understand, avijja, kamma, tanha, craving, all these nutriments doesn't arise singularly. It doesn't arise itself. This nutriment is very important. So this is the nutrients that you are giving to kamma. Whatever you think, if you do it in the wrong way, you will be creating kamma. Now, what is out of all these thoughts? Now, the first type of food revolved around the food itself, nutriment. Second nutriment revolved around the three-letter word. The third type of nutriment is revolving around something. Out of all these dirty thoughts, what is the worst thought that you can have? You don't know. You know it very well. It's nothing to do with sex. Oh, I said that, okay? But it happens because of this thought, maybe. Think what is our problem, the biggest problem? Huh? Yes, self. We think there's a self existing within us. This is the worst, strongest kind of thought a human being can have. But that thought comes through because you think to be. There's some French philosopher said, Descartes said, you think thus you, something like that. Therefore I am. He took it from Buddha. Yes, I believe. I don't know. People steal a lot of things from Buddha and they invent, even Einstein. I don't want, but nobody has given a Nobel Prize to Buddha. That's from my point of view, but at least they should be giving it to their disciples. Okay, so So what are we grasping here? What are we grasping here? Now we have to find what are we grasping here. If I say this self-view, what is the word here? Vib. So through Mano Sanchetana, through what we think and fantasize, we are grasping to a wave. But is this wave correct? No. Because we think that we exist as a person. What is the consequence? What is the outcome? We carry on beautification, maintenance, feeding. It doesn't mean that you come to an understanding there's a person not existing, you stop, starve and die. No. There's nothing. Buddha says he's giving a system here. Any of these, what I'm trying to prove, he's not trying to abandon the sources. He just wants us to understand these things and come to a healthy way of living. So I'll explain how this can be done. So we are grasping to a view. Does this naturally happen within you? Yes. Because we are not we have no capacity to see this unless you listen and think about. That's why I say my projection is not enough. You need to, during this time, you need to go home and think about these things if you're 100% into, if you are helping yourself. So now there's a problem with our view. There's a problem with our faculties. We when the eyes are not working well, when the hearing is not working well, when the smell is not there, you go to a doctor, ENT surgeon, you take glasses, hearing aids, just for what? Just to do these things again and again. But you don't come to a monk and say, Lian was there this morning, I asked, how's I doing? And you don't come to a monk and say, Bhante, the way I see, the way I hear is not doing right. Can you explain a good meditation for this? Okay, you do Asubha. It's better than buying glasses. No, we don't want to do that, That's why, in this way you have to think. Not only physical, physiological, all these mundane, secular things. You have to think deep in metaphysical way. What's wrong with our view? So because of this wrong view, we have a mother, we have a father, we have a child, we have a dog, we have aunties, uncles, everything that we create in the name of self-view, we maintain that. Okay, maintaining the wrong view. When you are maintaining something wrong that doesn't exist, it becomes a strong attachment. It becomes a taint within you. It becomes a wave, a force in your life. Can you just coming to an understanding now? Can you just go home and say, son, you are not my son. You are not my. This is just the wrong view. No, we go deep. We go deep. But through practice, through understanding these views, you have to. This is a nutriment. If I give you a label and ask, okay, you can say, okay, if you take carrot, there's a lot of vitamin K in this, vitamin A in this, vitamin C in this. But if you have the problem of samsara, what is the nutriments? You learn today. Please understand. Not only food, there is contact, there is the thoughts, what we do, volitional thinking. Out of all this thinking, the worst way, wrong way is our self-view. Because of self-view, we create so many other relationships because there's an I existing within us. There's a me within existing us. Because of this wrong view called I, are you not going to defend yourself? Are you not going to kill somebody else? Of course. There's a nice explanation in Buddhism, a very beautiful one. I don't know how to put this in English. One man finds a very expensive gem. He goes and protects him, he puts in his cupboard. Now after putting it in the cupboard, he cannot trust his children. He cannot even trust his wife, thinking that somebody will steal this. So he locks the room. He guards day and night, he's guarding the door because there's a gem inside. He doesn't trust anybody coming to that house. Even if 5 goes near that room, he will shout, don't go there, this and that. Okay. So he is willing to kill anybody coming into this house because he has something hidden in that room. One day, he takes that gem and it falls. It breaks into pieces. Then he realized, all this time I was not protecting a gem, but a piece of glass. Buddha says our body is like that. All this time, we do all dirty things. Do something, come into anger, lust, craving, trying to keep this body. We think this is a gem, the most beautiful thing in the world. You apply layers and layers of cosmetics. And suddenly, 45, the gem breaks into pieces. You hear Dhamma, your gem breaks into pieces. Your ego is scattered. All this time you've been thinking, but I'm quite sure this will not scatter within you within this half an hour. But think about it. Yeah, think about it. Take action. That's the very important thing. I take a little bit of vitamin C for my skin. Other than that, yeah. Okay, so do something about this. So this gem will break. Your ego will go away. There's no I. You don't maintain a self-view. So the self-view will not go like this. It's the first level of enlightenment. You have to win a stream enterer. But there's no reason through a Dhamma discussion, if you come to an understanding, suddenly it goes away from your mind. It flies away from your mind. You can attain that level. Then you don't paying overtly too much attention to things that you know. At least you will not have that kind of a wrong view within yourself. So like that. Now can you see your thought pattern, how it created samsara here? Yes. And what is the last one of nutriments? Your consciousness. Vijnana. No, this is very difficult to understand. So Venerable Ananda, when Buddha was giving a teaching like this, he asked, Bhante, how can we eat consciousness? He thought this is something like that. Other things can be eaten, Even the Mano Sanchetana, it comes to your mind that you have a process of consuming it. But the vijnana thing you cannot. So Buddha says, no, Ananda, I'm not saying that vijnana, consciousness, is something that you can eat. But it is a nutriment in the sense, it is one of the major factors that will create a samsara, that will create an existence. When we drop and leave our body, what's the thing that is going to the other side? We call it the mind, the consciousness. So isn't it a consciousness important thing? Yes. So when this mind goes to another existence, what we call the existence? What is it, the consciousness, what is it creating on the other side? Nama and Rupa. If something is bringing Nama Rupa, it's a source of nutriment. Do you understand? In that sense, you have to understand Vijnana Ahara. What is the problem with our consciousness? Please, what is the problem with the consciousness is that right now? Buddha says the consciousness is an illusion, it's a magician. How can our consciousness be a magician? What's the problem with? Because consciousness in the first place, it will create an object in front of you. It has created these objects, the people in front of me is made by this consciousness. That's the first fault. And the second fault, consciousness create a person who's seeing this object. These are the two, that's why this consciousness is a magician. It creates something in front of you that is not real. At the same time, it creates a person who's seeing this. So we think, oh, there's a person. They are really an object. So this is only a thing called that we cannot find within our body is creating this. That's a dangerous thing. This minute thing, the consciousness is size of a seed of mustard seeds. But this mustard seed, size of a thing, we talk about the universe, isn't it? We talk about the world. We talk about a huge project. A tiny man, a tiny person, a tiny consciousness can expand things into a vast projection of things you cannot comprehend. So this is the problem with consciousness. But come to the real aspect of it. Now what are we grasping here? Consciousness, now I said the contact doesn't happen alone. When you touch something, you have the contact, phassa, feeling, then thoughts, vedana, craving. Now do we have the ability to see each and everything of these things separately? When you are, that's why mindfulness is very important. When you are touching somebody, okay darling, now I feel you, now I come the sensations, now I have a craving for you, but do you stop there? Isn't funny, isn't it? So that's why consciousness creates a continuous process that our naked eye cannot segment it. So it creates something impermanent. Consciousness creates impermanent. Because when something is happening very fast, you think this is a continuous permanent process. Does it say, that's my picture? Say, I don't have the picture. Yes, impermanent taken permanently. This is what is wrong with the consciousness we have. So tell me. But each and everything that we do, we don't have that three characteristics. We don't. That's why this vipassana is very important. That's why vipassana is forced into Buddhist meditation system to look at things impermanently, because the consciousness is not going to do that naturally. We need to force our consciousness to see things impermanently. So, what are we grasping here? When something is impermanent and we take it as permanent, again you have the view that somebody is existing here. We call it attavada padana. You are grasping to a self. Again the same process happens. You maintain when something is impermanent, you take it permanent. You try to permanent things. Yeah, you take vitamins, you go to the doctor to prolong things. Yes, there's hardly any person that goes through an angiogram. I had come across few people. He said to me, okay, now I'm 55, so I find 3 arteries blocked in my heart. So anyways, I have lived my life. Let it be like that. When the heart attack comes, I'm happy to receive that. But all other people say, okay, let's go for a bypass, let's go for a bypass. Then in another 10 years' time, you will definitely die. Because so we don't have a thinking pattern there. Because we think we are permanent, we are permanent, we are permanent, we are permanent. We want to be permanent if it is not permanent. Even at the age of 100 years old, it's better, if I live up to 101. Yeah. Is like that. Not only in human, like the other day, not only in the human realm, even in hell. Even in hell, people don't want to leave that place because of this attavadupadan. Even the most suffering being, even a dog with the wounds, maggots, they don't want to leave. Because they don't understand this, covered up by all consciousness, this wrong view, strong attachment, strong grasping, coming to a maintenance of self. Maintenance, it becomes a taint, it becomes a very force. This is called avijja astrava, ignorance, astrava of ignorance. This is what happens. So get to know these 4 nutriments. So although with this talk, we cannot live without food. 3 times of a day we eat. Are we vulnerable in that sense? Okay. But we are vulnerable in each and every way. We cannot go out of this whole eggshell. Even if you stop food, you cannot stop contact. Even if you are blind in all the spots, you cannot stop your mind thinking. Even if you go to a comatose state, still the consciousness is there. People say, my father died out of a coma. Bhante, do you think he was conscious? Of course, deep inside he's well conscious. Because as long as the heartbeat is there, the EEG works, the mind exists. Nobody dies unknowingly. Only you become a vegetable outside, level by level. You don't eat, you don't have the sensations going work. Those things are shut down, but the consciousness is there. Nobody dies without knowing. So we cannot go out of this eggshell. That's why Buddha says, we humans live in an eggshell. Hardly anybody go out of this. You have to see out of these things. So Buddha never said, because every time you eat, you are being vulnerable to a system that is, you cannot think of a way. Stop eating. No, Buddha didn't ask monks to stop eating. Buddha says, okay, reduce your portions to 2 times a day. 1 time is better. Because to survive a body, you don't have to eat this much. So somebody say, to increase your metabolism, all this creation of science, eat more and more metabolism, you reduce fat. It's not from the spiritual perspective I'm talking. Buddha gave a nice simile, it's called Putra Mansopama. Took a couple with 1 child, they go on a journey. So on the way, halfway through the desert, they didn't have food or water. What to do? So the father was telling the mother, darling, you eat me, and you too, our son, and you carry on with the journey, you eat me for food. Then the wife said, if I eat you, you will not be able to work. I cannot work for myself and bring up this child. Why don't you kill me and eat, so you too can survive and you can carry on with your life. Then husband tells, I cannot live without a wife. This is men talking. I cannot live without a wife. But if we both survive, we can have another child. Let's eat the child. This is in Tipitaka. You can read. Okay. So this argument goes for a while. Child ultimately dies. Okay. Now Buddha is asking, now the food is automatically there. How does these parents eat this food? Do they eat this food for pleasure? For fun? For fattening? For beautification? But only for the maintenance and nourishment. So Buddha is giving us a lesson. That's the same reflection that we monks have. Patisankayoniso pindapatam patisevami. Neva davayana madayana mandanayana vibhusana yavadeva imassa kayasa ditiyaya apanaya. Vihinsu paratiya brahmacharya anuggahaya. Like that, you have to eat your food, not for fun, not for beautification, only for the maintenance and nourishment of your life. But we forget that. 5 minutes we'll go for lunch. I'll show you how we forget these things. You forget these things. Please understand, you cannot think of getting out of samsara if you put much effort onto this. Yes? So I would like to finish my Dhamma talk right now. Next 5 minutes you will have time for questions. And if you don't understand anything about this nutriment, one last thing. How does this nutriment whole thing fall into Paticca How does it fall into Paticca Because of gross food, I said, because of we eat, we have fat, rupa. Not only rupa, you take why nutrition, why you look at vitamins. When you are saying rupa, please don't forget eye, ear, nose, tongue still belongs to the rupa aspect. You are enhancing your namas also, the mentality aspect. So rupa comes nama, avijja pacca sankara, sankara pacca vijnana. Eye, ear, nose, body comes 6. Salayatana. Salayatana pacca. If you have the 6 senses, salayatana pacca passo, contact, passa pacca vedana, feeling, sensation, vedana pacca tanha, craving. So this whole process falls into, what is Paticca in English? Dependent origination. If the dependent origination is there goes the cycle of samsara. There goes the cycle of samsara. Do something for yourself. Not only kamma, avijja, tanha, nutriment is also very important. Nutriment, this type of the 4 nutriments are nutriments for all other things. Avijja, tanha, kamma is all covered in this nutriment. If you can have this graph, if you can study that, you can study deeply and come to a realization, understand, then you can take measurements in your life, how we should. That's why from Kabalinkara Ahara, this particular kind, because we cannot live without food. Nobody is asking you to stop food. Just reflect on it in the way I reflect before I eat, not for beautification, maintenance. But sensations cannot be stopped. You cannot live in a box. So that's why sensual restrainment. What is the Pali word for that? What is the Pali word for that? Sensual restrainment? Sangvara. Indriya Sangvara. Okay, there's a nice sutta I have discussed this last year. Indriya Sangvara comes. Sanchetana. Thought patterns. How can we do meditation when you are focused on anapanasati? Kaya sankara, vachi sankara, mano sankara, all the formations will go away because you are tuning your thought pattern, thoughts into a breath. So you don't have to think about sex or food or doing wrong. You are just tuned in with the meditation. So and vijnana. Vijnana, out of meditation, you go into jhana. Out of jhana, you can go into things like cessation. So the vijnana aspect can also be completely once you have completely eradicated defilements, all these things, there's no vijnana existing. You have done your job. All these 3 places can be attacked, can be dealt if you sit down and think about it. The problem is shown, the pathology is shown. We have a lot of antibiotics in Buddhism you can apply. 40 objects of meditation starting from Asubha. Get used to it, not just listening Dhamma. Okay, it's just another Dhamma talk that you can go home and enjoy another pizza. It's up to you, but try to do something about samsara. Thank you very much. Sukhi hotu. Okay, any questions now? Okay, no questions, yeah? Thank you. You can even expand this whole graph by, for example, I say Kabalinkara Ahara, the gross food. Then I gave you a 6-step process by Upadana, Yoga, Asrava, and wave like force, and the last one is thought. Like 6 process way explained in Dhamma, Okay. Have a good